You've been taught to shrink, haven't you? To make yourself small, to apologize for your dreams, to whisper your desires instead of declaring them with power. Perhaps you've been told that confidence is arrogance, that claiming your divine inheritance is egotistical, that stepping into your spiritual authority makes you prideful and ungodly. This is the greatest lie ever told to spiritual people, and it's keeping you trapped in a powerless existence while your divine authority sits dormant within you. What you're about to learn will shatter every limiting belief you've been taught about humility, confidence, and spiritual power. The difference between destructive ego and divine authority isn't what most people think, and understanding this distinction will revolutionize your ability to create miracles, command circumstances, and manifest extraordinary results in every area of your life. The truth is this: you were not created to be small, meek, or powerless. You were designed to exercise divine authority over every situation in your life. The universe placed within you the same creative power that spoke worlds into existence, and when you refuse to use this authority, you're actually dishonoring the divine intelligence that created you. Divine authority is your spiritual birthright, your cosmic inheritance, your legitimate right to command the forces of creation in alignment with divine will. When you operate from divine authority, you're not being egotistical. You're being authentic to your true spiritual nature as a co-creator with infinite intelligence. The confusion between ego and divine authority has paralyzed millions of spiritual seekers who desperately want to create positive change, but have been programmed to believe that claiming their power is somehow wrong. Ego seeks to dominate others and serve selfish purposes. Divine authority seeks to serve the highest good and express divine will through human vessels. Understanding that divine authority flows through surrender rather than selfishness transforms everything. When you surrender your personal will to divine will, you become a conduit for unlimited spiritual power. When you align your desires with the universe's plan for your life, you gain access to supernatural authority that can move mountains and create miracles. The ego tries to control outcomes through manipulation, force, and personal agenda. Divine authority works through faith, alignment, and trust in divine timing. The ego demands recognition and praise. Divine authority gives all glory to the divine source, while accepting the responsibility of being a powerful channel. Most people have been taught that humility means making themselves small, but true humility is recognizing the magnitude of divine power working through you and stewarding that power responsibly. False humility denies your divine nature and refuses to use your spiritual gifts. True humility acknowledges your divine authority while remaining grateful for the privilege of serving as a vessel for infinite intelligence. You may have experienced moments when you felt incredible spiritual power flowing through you, times when your words carried unusual authority, when your prayers produced immediate results, when circumstances seemed to shift in response to your declarations. These experiences weren't your imagination. They were glimpses of your divine authority in action. The biblical account of Moses demonstrates divine authority operating at the highest level through complete surrender to divine will. When Moses stood before Pharaoh demanding the release of the Israelites, he wasn't operating from personal ego or human ambition. He was functioning as a vessel for divine authority that could not be denied. Moses had spent years in the wilderness learning to surrender his personal will to divine will, and when the time came for his greatest assignment, he stepped into supernatural authority that commanded the forces of nature itself. Through his rod, Moses parted the Red Sea, brought water from rocks, and fed millions with supernatural provision. His authority was so complete that his face literally glowed with divine power after encounters with infinite intelligence. Yet Moses remained humble, always acknowledging that the power flowed from divine intelligence rather than personal ability. When people challenged his authority, the earth opened up and supernatural signs confirmed his divine appointment. Moses demonstrates that divine authority becomes most powerful when personal ego is completely surrendered to divine purpose, creating a clear channel for unlimited spiritual power to flow through human vessels for the blessing of others. Perhaps the most transformative understanding is recognizing that you dishonor divine intelligence when you refuse to claim your spiritual authority. The universe didn't create you to be weak, poor, sick, or powerless. When you accept limitation as normal or spiritual, you're actually rejecting the divine nature that was placed within you at creation. Your divine authority includes the right to speak health into existence when sickness tries to attack your body. Your spiritual power gives you authority over financial lack, relational dysfunction, and every form of limitation that tries to dominate your experience. This isn't presumption. This is the proper use of the divine authority that belongs to you as a child of infinite intelligence. Learning to distinguish between ego-driven desire and divinely inspired vision becomes essential for exercising authentic spiritual authority. Ego-driven desires focus on personal gain, recognition, and advantage over others. Divinely inspired visions focus on service, blessing others, and advancing divine purposes in the earth. Take a moment to claim the authority that's already yours by divine right. Comment below and declare, "I walk in divine authority." When you write these words, you're not making an arrogant statement. You're acknowledging the spiritual truth about your divine nature and cosmic inheritance. Your written declaration activates the dormant authority within you and alerts the universe that you're ready to steward supernatural power responsibly. The act of writing this statement breaks the false humility that has kept you small and opens the channel for divine authority to flow through your life. Another way to understand divine authority is recognizing that it operates through spiritual laws rather than human effort. When you command circumstances through divine authority, you're not forcing outcomes through personal will. You're aligning with spiritual principles that govern manifestation and allowing those laws to work through you. Divine authority never violates free will or seeks to harm others. True spiritual power always operates in love, seeking the highest good for all involved. When you use divine authority to create positive change in your life, you're actually blessing everyone around you by becoming a demonstration of divine power in action. Whether you love him or hate him, Jake Paul, the controversial YouTube star turned entrepreneur, exemplifies divine authority through his unwavering conviction about achieving success in completely new fields, despite universal opposition. When Paul declared he would transition from social media content to becoming a legitimate professional boxer, the entire sports world mocked him as delusional. Instead of shrinking back from criticism, Paul operated with unshakable divine authority, knowing his vision came from infinite intelligence rather than ego. He spoke with complete conviction about his inevitable success, attracting top-level trainers and high-profile fights despite zero boxing experience. Paul's divine authority wasn't arrogance, it was absolute confidence in divine intelligence guiding his career transformation. His unwavering conviction eventually led to multi-million-dollar fights and legitimate recognition in professional boxing, demonstrating that divine authority expresses itself through unshakable faith in seemingly impossible visions and persistence through universal skepticism. You may also notice that divine authority produces peace rather than anxiety. When you're operating from authentic spiritual power, you feel calm confidence rather than stressed striving. Divine authority knows that spiritual laws will produce the desired results, so there's no need for worry or force. The development of divine authority requires consistent practice in smaller situations before being entrusted with larger demonstrations of power. You learn to exercise spiritual authority over daily challenges, personal limitations, and ordinary circumstances before being given opportunities to create extraordinary miracles. Understanding that divine authority includes the responsibility to use power wisely becomes crucial for sustained spiritual development. The universe monitors how you handle small amounts of authority before entrusting you with greater levels of spiritual power. Every time you use your authority to bless rather than curse, to build up rather than tear down, to serve rather than dominate, you qualify for increased levels of divine power. When you speak divine authority into your circumstances, you must declare with absolute conviction, "I command this situation in divine love." This declaration aligns your spiritual authority with divine will and activates the supernatural power that changes circumstances according to spiritual law. Perhaps you've been waiting for permission to step into your full spiritual power, afraid that claiming your divine authority might be prideful or presumptuous. The universe is waiting for you to recognize that false humility is actually a form of pride that refuses to acknowledge divine gifts and spiritual inheritance. The authority to heal your body, transform your finances, restore your relationships, and create extraordinary success belongs to you by divine right. When you claim this authority in alignment with divine will, you're not being egotistical. You're being obedient to your spiritual assignment as a co-creator with infinite intelligence. Another essential aspect of divine authority is understanding that it increases through use rather than decreasing. Unlike natural resources that diminish when consumed, spiritual authority grows stronger every time you exercise it in faith. Each successful demonstration of divine power builds your confidence and expands your capacity for greater manifestations. The exercise of divine authority also requires absolute faith in divine timing and divine methods. You may know with certainty that a breakthrough is coming, but divine authority trusts the universe to accomplish results through supernatural means that exceed human understanding. You may have been taught that asking for big things is selfish or unrealistic, but divine authority understands that extraordinary requests give the universe opportunity to display supernatural power through your life. Small requests require small demonstrations of power. Extraordinary requests create opportunities for extraordinary miracles that inspire others to trust divine intelligence. The maturation of divine authority includes learning to speak to mountains and expect them to move, to command storms and expect them to calm, to declare abundance and expect supernatural provision. This level of spiritual authority seems impossible to natural thinking, but becomes natural to those who understand their divine inheritance. Learning to carry divine authority with grace requires understanding that spiritual power is given for service rather than personal advantage. The more authority you're entrusted with, the greater your responsibility to use that power for blessing others and advancing divine purposes in the earth. You must also recognize that divine authority attracts both support and opposition. Those who are aligned with divine will celebrate your spiritual power and receive blessing through your authority. Those who are resistant may oppose your authority because it challenges their limited thinking and calls them to higher possibilities. The ultimate expression of divine authority is learning to speak as one who has been given dominion over circumstances rather than as one who hopes things might change. Your words carry creative power when they flow from authentic spiritual authority rather than human hoping or wishing. Divine authority also includes the power to break generational patterns, overcome family limitations, and establish new traditions of blessing for future generations. Your spiritual authority doesn't just affect your own life, it creates new possibilities for everyone connected to you. But understanding divine authority without exercising it changes nothing. The universe has revealed your spiritual inheritance and cosmic authority, but you must choose to step into this power through faith, practice, and responsible stewardship of supernatural gifts. The world is waiting for people who understand the difference between destructive ego and divine authority, who can wield spiritual power with wisdom and grace, who can demonstrate that supernatural authority serves love rather than selfishness. The time for playing small is over. The season of false humility has ended. The era of authentic divine authority begins now. You must declare with absolute conviction and unshakable faith, I am a vessel of divine authority and supernatural power flows through me for the highest good of all. I speak with spiritual authority because infinite intelligence has given me dominion over every circumstance in my life. I command blessings, I declare breakthroughs, and I manifest miracles through the divine power that operates through my surrendered will. I walk in divine authority because I am one with infinite intelligence, and together we accomplish the impossible through supernatural power that serves divine love.